Hello, here we're going to solve a quadratic equation of x squared out of 4 minus 5x out of 2 plus 6 is equal to 0. This equation is already solved for 0. However, we have some fractions in there. But since this is an equation, we can multiply both sides or each term by least common denominator, which will get rid of fractions. And in the first fraction we have 4, in second fraction we have a 2, and 6 is a whole number, which means it's out of 1. And the smallest number that is evenly divisible by 4, 2, and 1 is 4. We can multiply each term in this equation by 4. So x to the second out of 4 times 4, 5x out of 2 times 4, 6 times 4, and 0 times 4. This is equivalent as taking both sides of the equation into parentheses, multiplying both sides by 4, and then distributing 4 on the left into 3 terms. So let's simplify. In the first fraction we have 4 times x to the second out of 4. 4 divided by 4 cancel into 1, so we get x to the second left over. In the second fraction we have 4 times 5x out of 2. 2 goes into 4 2 times and we get 2 times 5x left over. Notice how fractions disappeared from the first two terms. Plus 4 times 6 is 24, and it's equal to 0 times 4 is 0. Let's simplify middle term. We have x to the second minus 2 times 5 is 10x plus 24 is equal to 0. We need to factor this, and for that we need to multiply leading coefficient, which is 1, times the constant, which is 24, and we get a product of positive 24. We need all of the factor pairs of 24. Well, we have 1 and 24, 2 and 12, 4 and 6, 8 and 3. Because our product is positive, we are looking for the sum, and we need a negative sum of 10. Well, negative 4 times negative 6 will give us positive 24 as a product. Negative 4 minus 6 will give us a sum of negative 10. So we can rewrite negative 10x as negative 4x minus 6x. Let's keep everything else as is. So we have x to the second plus 24 is equal to 0. Let's factor by grouping. From the first pair of terms we can take out an x. So x goes into denominator and on the outside. From the second pair of factors we can take out 6. And we need to change the signs so they match with the first parentheses. So let's factor out negative 6, and whatever goes into denominator goes on the outside, and we get x times x goes into x squared x times minus 4x divided by x. X's cancel into 1, so we have x minus 4, close the parentheses, minus 6. Let's open the parentheses. Negative 6 divided by negative 6 cancel into positive 1x. Positive 24 divided by negative 6 gives us negative 4. Negative 6 times x minus 4, close the parentheses, is equal to 0. Let's factor out x minus 4 by dividing each term by x minus 4. And whatever goes into denominator goes on the outside. So we get x minus 4 and x minus 4 cancel in the first fraction, x minus 4 and x minus 4 cancel in the second fraction, and we are left with x minus 6 times x minus 4 that we have factored out, and this is equal to 0. Now we can set each factor equal to 0, so x minus 6 is equal to 0 and x minus 4 is equal to 0. X minus 6 is equal to 0. To solve for x, we need to add 6 to both sides, and we get x. Negative 6 plus 6 adds up to 0, so x is equal to 0 plus 6 is 6. So our first solution is equal to 6. So let's solve x minus 4 is equal to 0 by adding 4 to both sides. And we get x, negative 4 plus 4 adds up to 0. So x is equal to 0 plus 4, 4. So our x2, the second solution, is equal to 4. And we need to check our solutions by plugging them into the original equation of x to the second out of 4 minus 5 times x out of 2 plus 6, and that has to be equal to 0. So let's check x equals to 6 by substituting 6 instead of x, and we get 6 to the second out of 4 minus 5 times 6 out of 2 plus 6 is equal to 0. This will give us 6 to the second is 36 out of 4 minus 5 times 6 is 30 out of 2 plus 6, that has to be equal to 0. 4 goes into 36 9 times, minus 30 divided by 2 is 15 plus 6, that has to be equal to 0. 9 minus 15 is negative 6 plus 6, that has to be equal to 0. And negative 6 plus 6 is equal to 0. So 0 is equal to 0. This checks out. So x is equal to 6 is a confirmed solution. Let's check x is equal to 4 by substituting 4 instead of x into the original equation. And we will get 4 to the second out of 4 minus 5 times 4 out of 2 plus 6. This will give us 4 to the second is 16 out of 4 minus 5 times 4 is 20 out of 2 plus 6 is equal to 0. 16 divided by 4 is 4 minus 20 divided by 2 is 10 plus 6 is equal to 0. 4 minus 10 is negative 6 plus 6, and that is equal to 0. Negative 6 plus 6 is 0 equals to 0. This checks out. So x equals to 4 is a solution. That's all.